Welcome to Epic Stage Journeys and Then Some. And now, here's your host, Gavan.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? We're back. Man, I'm telling you what, last week we had Snowmageddon here. Well, I wouldn't even call it that. It was more like Ice-mageddon. It just, you know how it is in Texas. It doesn't snow. It rains and freezes. And then we have streets full of ice for days on end. So we were kind of locked up last week. So we didn't do much of anything.
Well,
Just
if
said,
you recall, I used to live up in Denton from 2000, 2003, and, it snowed.
well, that's
and it
right. Yeah,
iced.
you were up in Denton. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did for a little while. Moved the family up there because of a job. And we said, no, we're coming right back because we love South Texas. Like last week, it got cold. It got into the mid 30s here, but during the day, it was in the 40s and 50s. Sun was shining. It was just beautiful. Sorry.
There's still ice patches in the backyard.
Really? Wow.
Oh yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah, I remember
So,
those days.
Everybody, I want to introduce you to my friend, my family, my cousin. He is the golden voice of the RGV. That's right, the golden voice of the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. This is Mr. Leo Marroquin. How are you, Leo?
Hey, I'm outstanding, but I will definitely improve. All right.
Hey, well, as long as you can improve, we can do that. How are you feeling?
Hey, doing beautiful. Just, living and enjoying life and can't be better. Doing all right other than, hey, being 60, it's, this hurts, that hurts. You know how it goes.
It all hurts. It doesn't stop.
I got a friend that's 59. I was having lunch with him today, and he says, yeah, I'm going to be, I said, aren't you 60 yet? He goes, no, I'm turning 60 this summer. I go, wow, okay. I think you were one of the babies from our class. He goes, yeah, I was kind of the younger ones. And my other friend was like, well, dude, when you hit 60, forget it, man. It's just,
forget it.
well, it's all maintenance from here on out, pretty much, right? I mean, it's
Who has time for that?
right. I know. Slow us
So,
down.
how's the voiceover business going?
The voiceover business is going well. I'll say well. I've been one of these guys that it just wants to excel and exceed, my own expectations, and talking to others that are in the business and doing voiceover. I'm in my second full year of doing voiceover, and compared to how others have been, they're saying, Leo, you're doing pretty good. I'm going like, oh, okay. Well, if that's the industry standard, then I guess I'm doing well. So no, I mean,
Yeah, you were just up in Dallas. What?
well,
not
this
long
past
ago, you
this
were up
past
here
summer in
for-
August, I was up there for the One Voice conference. Yeah. Got nominated for a few awards. Didn't take anything home, but I'll tell you what, I mean, just being nominated with there were over, what did they say, over almost 10,000 entries.
Wow.
And to make it into 4 categories, one of, I think there was 5 in each category. So being 1 out of 5 out of the 4 categories out of 10,000, entries. Hey, that right there is my, my reward and my
Yeah.
award, because
Winning. It's
Right.
the cool thing that you got picked out. I mean, you got selected out of that many people.
yeah,
That many times, and then
Yeah.
and that's impressive in itself.
yeah.
And I think that someday you may get as good as your daughter is, man. She's
Well, she taught me everything she knows. It's kind of funny because she's in voiceover as well. I know you had her on, a couple of months ago now.
Yeah.
And so we'll bounce back things back and forth with each other, and I'll give her a call. Say, hey, can you coach me through this script, man? It's a big deal, big money. And she goes, yeah, sure. So we'll get on a Zoom and I'll do my read, and she'll go, so Dad, so how do you feel you did? And when she says that, it's like, okay, God, I sucked. I go, that bad? And she goes, well, I wouldn't say it was bad, but you're
Yeah, she didn't want to hurt your feelings.
No, she doesn't. But whenever that's a typical coach thing, right? I coach with other people. So how do you feel you did? Or how did you feel on that read? And when you know that, it's like, all right, we weren't showing
Yeah,
the
I did that with a
authenticity.
lady. I was taking a class with a lady, and I did that, and she gave me some samples to read, and so I read through them all.
Yeah,
And I finished up, and she was real quiet, and I didn't
yeah,
say anything, and I just waited.
yeah,
And she goes, "Okay." And I said, "Okay, I'm listening." She goes, "You little fast." I was
uh,
okay, okay, slow that down, no big
yeah,
deal. You know, and she had some good pointers, but
yeah.
it was just I knew that when she just was silent for a while, I knew the wheels were turning and she was gonna let me have it, and she did
That's
it in a nice way. She picked, out
yeah,
the stuff that I felt like I needed to improve on, and I worked on it, but, then I started doing this and there went that,
right. I
but
mean,
I'm still
being
messing
in
with it a little
voiceover,
bit.
it's tough. I mean, this is a tough business, and and it takes time. It takes time to grow, and there's just so many aspects to it, so many different genres that you can get into. It's tough, and anybody says, "Oh, I can do that," or some people say, "Oh, I can do voices. I do character voices." Oh, great. Hey, go for it. Get the
Yeah.
training and blah blah blah. And man, you get into it, just like me. I mean, I was, I was in radio, back in the '80s, and I did commercials all the time. So I figured, hey, you know what? In my retirement, I'm gonna do voiceover. It should be fun. But man, once you get into it, you're like, oh boy, it's different, but it's highly, highly, highly competitive to reach the top echelons. Getting an agent and doing national commercials, which pay very, very well. I mean, you got national commercials that pay anywhere from two, three, four, five, eight, $10,000 a pop. Okay, I mean that's kind of where the money can go. But
Mhm.
to get to that level and to compete at that level, it's it's tough. It's not easy. And you spend a lot of time coaching, you spend a lot of time training, and a lot of time marketing. I mean, I spend a lot of my time marketing and then auditioning. I mean, I can audition 100, 110, 115 times before I win a gig. And that I'm not talking about one of the major, national gigs. I'm talking about two, three, $400 gigs. But yeah, it's very competitive, and you got to be mentally strong.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's I went on some of the different websites of voiceover talents and
Hmm.
started looking at them, and compared to what it was like, say, 10 years ago, 5, 10 years ago, there's thousands of people on these pages now, and you can just go on for days looking at people and listening to voices and the voiceover that I use for this is a there was a gentleman I used to work with, his name is Bob Walker, and
Hmm.
of course Bob's since retired, but he was the VOG. We called him the VOB. He was the voice of Bob because
Right.
he just had that that
Voice of
voice that was
God.
just "Bruh,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and it would get your attention. And I called him one day and I said, "Would you make my intros and outros for me?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "How
Cool.
much you charge me?" He goes, "Send me a hat." And I said, "Okay, done." So I got pretty cheap.
Yeah. 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 So we're just having fun, living life, and this is kind of what I plan to do, kind of like you, right? I mean, you got riff from your gig, I got riff from my gig a couple of years ago, and I was like, all right, this is kind of what I'm gonna do into my retirement.
Yeah, it just, and just like you and me, I mean, you and I, we had no intentions of retiring this
Right.
soon, but other people had better ideas for us, and so we were like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But for me, it was mine was well, mine was COVID, of course,
Yeah.
with the layoffs and everything, and then we
Right.
got caught in that, and then I went back, and I think 20 let's see, it was 20, 21 was mid, 22 is when everything exploded again. And I mean, I just went out and was just hitting everything. I think I did 17 shows that year.
Wow.
And somebody asked me, he goes, why are you doing so much? And I said, I'm trying to make up for 21 when we didn't do any. Well, we were
Right.
doing virtual stuff, you know,
Yeah.
Zoom calls and, you know, stuff like that. But dude, that was kind of not fun at all. And
Yeah.
and then I ended up doing this, which it's a big Zoom call is all it is.
Mhm. Yeah, that's right. That's
But
right.
yeah, we did that. But when, you know, when 22 came around and like the floodgates opened, everybody wanted to go back to, you know, doing stuff.
Mhm.
And I was just playing catch up. And then 23, I think my old company, what they did, they had, once we got laid off, then they brought us back as independent contractors. And then it was like, oh, goody, I get to play with all the other people now. I get paid overtime and I get this and I get
Mhm.
that. And, you know,
Right.
and at the end of that year, I think the pencil pushers started looking at everything and they realized it cost a lot of money to keep us around. And I, knowing I pissed somebody off, I know I did. It was, you know, and so, but, you know, the health issues kind of took a turn. And so here I am now
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
And it's all
Yeah.
because of you. You're the one that said, you need to start a podcast. What do you
Yeah, I mean,
do?
you and I are talking. You said, "Hey, how about doing voiceover?" And I says, "Yeah, you need to do this, 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 and this, this." And I said, "But Gav, so all the years that you've been on the road and doing what you're doing," I says, "You know what? You should really think about doing a podcast." And you'll go like, you know, doing that number.
You know,
So, you know, I'm glad it's working out for you.
I just tell everybody, I let them, I don't filter anybody. I really don't edit much. Sometimes I'll do some edits. I had a girl on that used to be one of our lead singers at a couple of the venues I ran, and she was
Mhm.
here. She and I hadn't seen each other, God, over 20 years.
Yeah.
She came in and she came here and we sat in the studio and did it. And
Yeah.
she played her guitar and sang a song, but I don't know what happened. Her guitar got knocked out or something. It would not, couldn't hear it at all. So it was horrible. So I had to edit that out. And I told her, I said, you can come back and we'll do it again.
Right.
But it's, I just tell everybody, I said, you know, let's not get political at all. We're not doing politics, and
Nope.
let's not get overly religious because, you know, everybody, I respect everybody's beliefs and everything. So, and I'm not going to get into an argument with anybody about politics. I just can't do it. I can't take it anymore. It's just, it's
Right.
it's,
Right.
I just listen to people say stuff and I do, okay, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah. No, I get it.
We're all still alive and we're still doing okay. So I'm not too worried about it right now. I'll
There
worry
you
about
go.
it tomorrow if anything happens.
Right.
Taking it day by day. You know how it goes.
Absolutely. That's all you can do is, you know, take it day by day. And that's what we've been doing here.
It's fun. So you guys are empty nesters now, right?
Just about. Yeah. Leo travels a lot and, you know, he was going to move out a couple of times and then he started traveling a lot. And you know, we just told him, look, you know, we live in a 2-story house. You're upstairs. We're downstairs. You know, we know you're here, but sometimes, you know, you're not here. And like I said, he traveled so much. And I told him, look, just save your money. He's got his 401k. He's got money in the bank coming out of his ears and stuff. And he pays me rent. You know, I charge him rent. Now I told him, I says, look, if you graduate, I says, man, if you're a bum and you're sitting just playing video games all day, boom, you're out of the house. But no, you know, he's got a corporate gig. He travels all over the country. And so, you know, he comes home, he sleeps, does his laundry, boom, 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 rinse and repeat, goes back out on the roads. I goes, you know, why buy a house? Why rent an apartment? And one, you're not going to come home to anybody, not even a dog, right? Because I mean, it's hard to keep pets like that.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
said, you know, you're here for a weekend, maybe you're off for a couple of weeks, so you hang out, and then you're off on the road again for,
Is
you know,
he
extended
still
amount of
with the
time.
same company?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he? Good.
Yeah, no, he's
Good.
been
I'm
doing
glad he's
well.
doing
It'll be
well.
5
It
years.
was
Yeah, 5 years. He's working for Motorola, and of course that's where I spent 20 years of my career. And yeah, so he got a gig there, and enjoying life and living life.
good for him. I'm
Yeah,
glad he's doing well.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
Vanessa
yeah.
seems to be doing very well too.
She's doing
She and
well.
I,
She's ramping back her career back up. Of course, she had her granddaughter Lila,
Mhm.
and so I'm helping her a little bit. We're kind of doing an automotive thing together, and just helping each other out and kind of cross promoting each other now that we can and should be doing. And so yeah, so we're trying to come up with some ideas to where we can work together and promote each other. And that way, hey, if she gets a gig out of it, I get a gig out of it. The more power to us, right?
Yeah, I agree with the cross promoting thing. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a drummer, and he played in a Zeppelin cover band.
Mm,
And when I first met him, he and I were neighbors by, I don't know, it was just by pure accident, but we
hmm
became neighbors, and we started talking, and he said he played in a band, and I said, okay, cool. And I said, what do you play? And he goes, I play the drums. I said, oh, I play the drums. And he goes, yeah. I said, what music do you guys play? He goes, well, we're a Zeppelin cover band. And I went, well, aren't you cute? You're gonna take on the master, huh? You're gonna try to take on John Bonham.
Yeah.
And so he goes, yeah. He goes, we got a gig this weekend. Come check it out. So I went and watched him play, and
Yeah.
I was floored.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't miss a beat. And I started later on. He came to me. He said, would you mind booking the band for us? And I said, no, that's fine. I'll do it. And I never understood it. I would book them in one club,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would go to another club and say, hey, I've got this band, I'm trying to get them booked. And, I'd send them a demo or something. Oh yeah, we like them. We want them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd get them booked into another band, into another bar. Well, then one bar would call me and say, hey, they can't play here. And I was like, well, why not? Well, you're playing at this other bar 2 weeks before us. And I was like,
Yeah.
and they go, well, you got to wait at least a month. And I was like, a month? And I said, do you guys not cross promote each other? Do you not talk to
Yeah.
the bands and say, hey, if you don't mind, and talk to, you guys get the club owners talking and say, look, hey, let this band say, hey, we love playing here, and in 2 weeks we're going to be at this bar down the street or across town or whatever, and they'll do the same thing for you at the other place, and it's just back and forth.
Right.
And they did not get it.
Yeah.
And I fought with that guy and fought with him, and he said, no, they can't play here. And I said, you guys, I don't get it. You guys should be cross. And
if they're going to remember, right? As if that audience, it's just like anything else, right? That audience may not, know that they're over there.
It just,
yeah.
And it killed me how they just would not cross promote. And I said, you guys could be doing each other big favors by doing that.
Yeah.
And I said, it's not war, man. It's just business is all it is. But they were just back then. Now this is back in the mid 80s, and the rock clubs were really booming back then, and it was just a battle all the time. They were just battling against each other, and who could get this band or that band, and
yeah,
and or they would that's back when the early years when the Pantera boys were still bouncing around from the clubs and stuff, and before they got signed and went big, but it was just always a constant fight with him. And I finally told him, I said, guys, I can't do this. I mean, I love him. I love him to death, but I just could not do it anymore.
Yeah.
And because it was hard for me to bite my tongue to argue with these clowns. So I just said, no, can't do it. So they didn't like me much after that. The band did. The bars didn't, though.
Mm-hmm.
God, they hated me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't take no well. I said, let's all make money. Let's all do it. But nah, didn't want to do it.
Right.
So how's it going down in the valley?
Doing well, doing good. Everybody's trying to stay healthy around. I mean,
that's a job.
We've lost a couple of relatives here lately, but other than that, I mean, everybody's doing fine. All the aunts, Well, the two ants we have left,
The
really.
two ants that are left now.
That are on the Marroquin side, on your and mine
I
side.
know.
Yeah. It's it's interesting, the passing of that generation, and to think that you, me, and the rest of our cousins are approaching that as well. So it's like, all right, we'll see what happens the next 20, 30 years to us. See how long we're going to be around.
Yeah. 30 years from now, no, you won't see me. You can swing by and check out the grave, the headstone or whatever. But no, I'm not going to be here 30 years.
Yeah, I know. It's I don't even want to talk about it. But
yeah, I know. And it's funny because Ernie will call me every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's 75 now. Yeah, because he's the oldest. And I think he said he was 75 now.
Yeah.
But he still looks good, doing good.
Yeah, he's still alive and kicking.
Yep, he's still up and going.
So he probably got the good genes.
I guess. I didn't, that's for sure. I don't know who screwed that one up. That was just horrible.
Yeah.
So, hey, when did you start radio? You were still in high school when you started radio, weren't you?
In 1982, I was a sophomore in high school, and I was in a it's kind of funny, but I always wanted to be a DJ on the radio. I mean, I got pictures of me. Mom has pictures of me, and I've got them too because I've got them now. I'd set up my record player. I found a broom and I put something on the end of it that looked like a microphone, and I stuck it there, and I would play the records and talk in between the records while I'm switching the next one. And I would record the DJs and the music on a cassette recorder. If anybody, if you remember what that is. But yeah, no, I had always wanted to be on the radio, a DJ. And so that came to fruition when I was a sophomore in high school. Funny story on that one was that so I was a sophomore in high school, and there was this other sophomore from one of the other high schools that was working at the station that I ended up working at. And so he was 15 years old as well. Well, he decided to, of course, we're in South Texas, and the station was in Weslaco, Texas. And he decides that he wants to go up to Corpus to a rock concert. So he borrows the station van, goes to Corpus from this rock concert, comes back, falls asleep, totals the brand new radio station van, okay, and gets fired, right? And so the station manager tells the program manager at the time, he says, all right, we're not hiring any more kids. No more 15-year-olds, no more high schoolers. We're not hiring any more kids, to work weekends or whatever. And so here I was, knocking on the door, just knocking on the door. I'd done an air check and was just persistent. I was just a bulldog. And they was like, no, you're not going to hire another kid. Not going to hire another kid. And so lo and behold, by me being, the tenacious person that I am, and I remember at one radio station, I sent an air check to, and I didn't know what the heck to put together. Got some guidance from some folks. Anyway, so I sent it in, and finally, again, this was an FM station here, knocking on the door, calling. I was calling the program director, while he's on there, and he finally answered. His name was Crazy Steve. I remember it, B104. I said, hey, I'm Leo Marroquin, and I, sent an air check. I'd love to work weekends on their station. He goes, oh, yeah, I received your air check. He goes, look, this is what you need to do. And I said, okay, what? You need to take the newspaper, and you need to read it out loud. I'll go, okay. But you need to enunciate and pronunciate every single word when you read. I go, okay, because, yeah, you're a little sloppy. You're, can't understand what you're saying, but this is what you got to work on. So I said, okay, I'm doing it. So I don't know, a year I'm getting the paper and I am reading every single sentence and enunciating and pronunciating every single word. So that way, when I talk real fast, you can understand what I'm saying. And did that. And then, of course, never got the gig there, but finally got the gig at KRGV Radio down here. And yeah, I remember that summer, that summer when you came down with your buddy and did a little gallivanting on the north and south side of our nice U.S.-Mexico border here.
No, I didn't. Or, well, no, yeah, well,
Yeah.
maybe.
No,
Yeah,
you
we
did. You did.
We did a
You
little bit.
did. You did. I couldn't get in trouble with you because I was on the radio on the weekends. So
Yeah, you usually were. You usually were. And when I think that one of the times that we came down, I think I was about 16,
yeah.
and
That put me
my
at 15.
best friend came with me.
Yeah.
And that's when Mom and my stepdad, they gave us the van.
The van.
We had one of those custom vans. You remember that van?
Oh, I remember it. It was a
And they
brown
were like,
van.
"Well,
It was like a Chevy.
Valley," and I was
Wasn't it a
like,
Chevy? Was it a Ford or a Chevy? Can't remember.
"It was a
But
Ford."
it was brown. I know. It was beautiful brown. It had the stripes on it. It was custom.
Oh,
It
yeah,
had
it
the
was all
carpet
tricked out.
inside. The bucket seats. It was a pretty cool van. And we cruised up and down 10th Street in that van. Quite a bit. But yeah, I remember some of your escapades. Well, the stories of your escapades. But anyway.
Well, it was, we had the guy that went down there with me. His name was Tim Nash, and he was just he wasn't. I wouldn't say he was a leader. I wouldn't say he was a follower.
Oh,
He was just kind of, well, yeah, he can instigate stuff too, but I remember we were going to go out and do something, and I remember your dad.
mm-hmm.
The last thing he told us was, "Do not go to Mexico."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, we won't go to Mexico." Yeah, that went. And then Albert,
Yeah.
from across the street, got involved, and then we all ended up in Mexico.
Yeah.
Have you seen him lately?
Yeah. I see him about once a month. He,
really?
he has a restaurant here.
Is he still got the restaurant?
Yeah. Still got the restaurant.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yeah.
for him. Give him my best if you see him.
Will do.
I think you took me over there last time I was there. You took me by there, but he wasn't there.
He wasn't there. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see him and visit with him. I wanted to see him. I talked to David the other day.
Uh-huh.
I called Cindy to check on her.
Yeah.
And David, I'd forgotten that David's living with her right now.
Right. Right.
And so he got on the phone. So we talked for quite a bit, and just to see how everybody was doing, how John's doing.
Yeah.
And I know Judy's back down there in the valley now, and it's always fun to talk to her. But I haven't seen John since we were kids. And I asked how he was doing. He said he's out in California.
Yeah, he's out in California. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's out teaching or something out there. But he was always the bright one.
He was smart. He was very smart. Yeah, he was. I think didn't he go to Princeton or something like that? I mean, he was
one of those. It was
an Ivy League school, and I thought that he was going to get his law degree and everything, and then ended up actually going into Catholic ministries and doing that for quite a while. So yeah,
did he? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just catch bits and pieces from people when I talk to them. I talked to Cindy the other day. I just wanted to see how she was doing after all her issues, and Mom's always checking on Gloria, see how she's doing and how everything's going there, and it's just God, we're getting old sucks. It does, and I was talking to Candy one day, and because she's 5 years older than I am, and
how's she doing? She doing all right?
She's doing all right. She's
had her health issues as well, no?
She did, yeah. She's doing better. She's just trying to do better, take care of herself, and
she had some heart. She had some heart, right? She had some heart issues.
Yeah, she had a heart attack.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I mean,
And
both you and I mean, obviously my dad um didn't die of a heart attack. I know, Theo Fethel, your father did, and his father's father, and I mean, we all have this hereditary thing, with our hearts, and thank God, this guy's been good, and so hopefully we'll skate past that. So
yeah, I've bypassed that so far. Haven't had
that's good.
any heart issues.
That's
That
good. That's
Candy
good.
just caught me off guard. I don't forget who. I think maybe Mom called me and said you need to call your. No, it wasn't. Tracy had texted me and she said you need to call your sister. And I was thinking that's odd. What's that all about? And so I tried to get a hold of her. Nothing. Tried to get a hold of her. So I finally got a hold of her and she told me what had happened. I said, why didn't you call me and tell me?
Yeah.
Well, I was like, oh, geez, here we go. Got
Yeah.
to listen to this. And I said, look, if it's just us two now. So well, it was always just us two, but I said,
Right.
you got to kind of keep me in the loop about what's going on.
Hmm.
Oh, hey, I severed my arm, but I'll call you in 6 months, and let you know what happened, but that's just her. And, but we talk a lot now, especially when football's on. She has to text me all the time about the games.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen next? It's like, don't stop texting me.
Super Bowl's coming up. Not sure when this is going to air, but you know, um,
This one will air this week. I
okay,
try to do one. I try to do one a week if I can. And some days I don't know. I think we've done. I think we're in. I think there's over 30 up now
cool.
on YouTube. It's some of them are just little snippets though that we pulled out and they're just kind of teasers. But I think full runs. I think we're over 20 something on just the full runs now. I'm still holding out. I call them unicorns because I've got friends out there that have said, "Oh yeah, we'll do it," but then they just kind of disappear on me and they
Hmm.
don't. And I caught one of them, my friend Liz, when she came in and did it. She was one of the ones I'd been trying for a long time to get, and she finally decided she'd come on.
Yeah.
But there's some people out there. Keith Rolfe, I won't mention any names, but I'm waiting on you. And there's several people out there that I've been waiting on.
Yeah.
But they're coming around eventually. There's quite a few people I'd really like to talk to. That it just some of them a lot of them are in bands and stuff, and
Right.
they're gone.
They're busy.
Yeah, they're busy doing stuff, and so it's hard to catch them on just to be free for just for a couple hours to sit and visit and see what's going on.
Right. Right.
But it's this is not for everybody. I can tell you that. So it's I like watching these things on YouTube that all these young people are watching all these bands from the 70s and they're amazed.
Yeah.
They were playing a Boston song
Hmm.
and to watch their facial expressions
Yeah.
and oh, did you hear that? And
Yeah.
I was like, and then I forget, wait a minute, we were alive during that time and we heard all that stuff. We knew it. And then I have to go back and look and go, and yeah, these kids weren't even born when some of this stuff was out.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's amazing because I'm that's kind of my thing right now on YouTube is watching reaction videos of a lot of these. I mean, they're kids. I mean, really, they are kids compared to us that are listening to the different ones. There's one that is just so funny. She's the charismatic something, I can't remember what she calls herself. And then, they're music professors, they're, opera singers and singers. I'm kind of thumbing through my phone here to see if I run into one. But yeah, this one, yeah, the charismatic voice. And she's just so funny. She's just like, like,
I
and I was
can't believe you.
like, oh, okay,
How do you sound like that?
wow. what's going on. But they break it down, and it's like it's just so funny. And she was doing one of the Doobie Brothers the other day with Michael McDonald, and oh no, she was doing no, I was Aja, so Steely Dan, and she was like,
Oh,
I've heard that voice before, and I was like, "Oh, really?" And yeah, and I go like, "It's Michael McDonald," And she goes, and somebody had said that he sang for the Doobie Brothers, and I got to find out more about the Doobie. I'm going like, okay, you're in music, and I'm sure you studied this, and I'm sure you had parents that were probably our age
yeah,
that listen to this,
that
and some
played
will
the
say,
stuff.
"I remember listening to this song when I was a little girl. My parents would listen to it, and here I am breaking down the music, and I'm going like, oh my, oh."
Yeah, it was, I forget they were listening. Yeah, maybe they were listening to Asia with Steely Dan, and I was just like, and but what gets me is like you'll get some of them there's one guy that's a drum teacher,
Yeah.
and so he follows a lot of the stuff, and he listens to the drummer and everything because it's I don't know if you've heard him, you've probably seen Dirty Loops play, and
No, I
if you
haven't,
have
but
not, look them up.
okay.
Dirty
All
Loops
right.
is amazing. I believe they're out of, it's either Sweden or Switzerland,
Okay.
but they're three guys and they are amazing. And their drummer I throw up every time I watch him play
Oh, really?
because he's so good. And
Yeah.
and their bass player is just they're all three of them are insane just to watch them play.
Rick
And
Beato. Do you know Rick Beato?
oh yeah.
See,
Mhm.
yeah. So I'll watch this stuff. That's kind of how I got hooked onto this thing, because one actually, he did what makes this song great, and it happened to be one of the Boston songs, and so he was breaking it down, and then I got stuck on Rick Beato, and of course, the algorithm goes, "Oh, you like Rick Beato? Here, you like this one and this one and this one." So
Mhm.
that's kind of my thing, is watching reaction videos of kids younger than us break down this music, and so yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's
I
pretty
watched
cool.
a I watched a bunch of them one time lose their mind because they were listening to "Low Down" by Boz Scaggs,
Oh yeah.
and I went, "Huh?" And they were going, now, one guy goes, "Now, this guy, is it Bose? Is it Bose Scaggs?" And I was
Yeah.
like going,
Oh man,
"Oh,
Buzz
I'm
Gags,
hurting
man. Like
already."
where are you?
And then
Like, do your research.
they'll start playing the song, and then they'll stop it, and they'll have to put in a comment. I was like, "Stop doing that. Play the song and then tell me what you think about it."
Yeah.
It
There's
just drives
there's
me
this
crazy.
guy here that I watch too. His name is Isaac, and he's a music producer, and this and this and this, and he's listening to older music to see, where music came from and the whole nine yards. And he's the same way. I mean, he did one on Supertramp, which was pretty good, but he was like freaking out on Super. It was like, oh my god, oh wow, it's just like mind blowing. It's like, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Gavin, I think the decades of music that we grew up in, the 70s especially, 80s was, doggone pretty good music. I was a DJ in the 80s, like we talked about, and I think that's the best decade of music. But the 70s, I think too, in regards to music production, and it's headphone music. I mean, you put on a set of headphones and you
Oh, yeah.
listen to Steely Dan, you listen to Boston, you listen, to all these artists, and just the stereo imagery that they put into the production in the mastering of this music is just phenomenal. But right now, anything you hear today, it is just so highly compressed, and
Yeah.
it's about loudness. It's about loudness, and probably 80s radio, came to blame because everybody, in order to hear music, it had to be played on the radio, and they wanted it always to be the loudest. So if you had the loudest songs, so production of music just became that. How loud can you make the music? Forget about fidelity, forget about the stereo, forget about stereo imagery. It was very, I think what they call the production, very centered, right? Yeah, you had stereo, but I mean, the vocal was just in your face, the guitar was in your face, the drums somewhat separated but in your face, and then you had kind of your ancillary stuff. But yeah, I love listening to music back then and putting on a set of headphones and just laying back and going like, yeah.
Yeah, it just, you know, you would hear things and you're just like, it's like, and Steely Dan is, I always use that as a breakdown because they were brilliant in what they did.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, and probably one of the things that I tell people, there was back in the day when I owned my bar, and this was years ago, and we had live music on the weekends. And there was a band called Bigfoot Johnson, which was a bunch of the guys that used to be in, my gosh, I'm getting old. I've already forgotten where they were from, but they were from Point Blank. And it was Rusty Burns, who was the guitar player, and there was Buzzy Gruen, who played drums, and John O'Daniel was a singer. And then they added a keyboard player, a friend named Rex Money, who later on left, and he went and played with Toby Keith for 20 plus years. You know, he played up until when Toby passed away. But they had a bass player, Chris Gibson, amazing bass player. And he got into a really bad car accident, and he was still in the hospital. And so I had booked Bigfoot Johnson to play at the bar. And so Rusty called me and he says, hey, he goes, you know about Chris? And I said, oh yeah, everybody knows about Chris. He says, well, he goes, what do you want to do? Do you want to cancel the gig, or do you want me to find a replacement, or, you know? And I said, Rusty, you know everybody in town. I said, just find a replacement and, you know, we'll go from there. And so he goes, okay. And so I came in that day and they were over there setting up, and he goes, hey, come here. I want to introduce you to the bass player. And we walk over there, and it was a very tall black gentleman, very well dressed, and we walked over, and I stopped. You know, when you get to that, you notice something and you stop in your tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I stopped dead in my tracks and I said, Rusty. And he goes, yeah. And I said, you do know that's Chuck Rainey, right? And he goes, well, yeah. And I said, the Chuck Rainey that played on Steely Dan's record and played for Aretha Franklin and and it was just I was like, holy, can you hear this mess?
I can. What's going on? Your dogs or what?
It won't. Hang on just a sec. Like you would think that the house was being attacked at this point.
The UPS or the FedEx guy coming up and delivering something. Huh?
But I met Chuck, and he lives up in the mid cities here in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I got a chance to meet him. Nicest guy on the planet, and an amazing player. Oh my God, I could just sit there all night and just watch him play. Well, I used to go and bounce around on if I'd have a night off, if I ever had one, we'd go bounce around. We'd go to the different blues jams in town. And I went to one night, and a friend of mine's band was the host band. So I was just kind of hanging out, and the drummer hollered at me. He goes, hey, why don't you come in and take my place? And I said, okay. So I got up there, and Rusty Burns was playing guitar, and Rusty goes, Gavin, I'm going to get down. And I said, that's cool, you know, whatever. Well, then I think one of the bass player, he got down too. They were just switching out, but Rex Money stayed in the back. He was kind of behind me on the keyboards, and so he stayed there. So we were talking back and forth, and other players started getting up. Well, Chuck Rainey came up, and I got up and said, nope, I'm out. And Rusty goes, Rex in the back goes, sit down. He goes, you're not going anywhere. And I said, Rex, I am so far out of the wheelhouse on this one. No, I'm not doing this. He goes, nah. He goes, And the advice he gave me, he goes, let's look on the positive side, Gavin. He said, the worst that could happen is they're just going to leave your dick in the dirt. I said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I stayed and I played, and I could hear Rex every once in a while. He'd be I could hear him over my shoulder going, hey. He goes, keep up. And I was so busy watching Chuck play that I was thinking, in my mind, I'm going, I'm actually jamming with Chuck Rainey. And did you just see what he just did? And I'm trying to play and keep all this. And I was trying to do 3 things at one time, and I couldn't do it. But I made it through it. But that was all due to Rex. I give him that, because I would have walked. I mean, that was pretty serious when he got up there.
Right.
And I don't remember who was playing guitar. I don't remember who else got up and played. Somebody else was, but it just I just ran into that stuff. Do you still have your old drum set?
I do.
You still got the old Vista Light?
I still got the Vista Light. It's set up upstairs, and I play it every now and then. My son plays it. I play it. We've got an electric drum set as well. But yes, we have an acoustic drum set. Isn't that amazing? I call drum sets. Oh, is it electronic or is it acoustic? Yes, it's an acoustic. It's a real drum.
It's a real drum. Yeah,
it's a real drum. That's right. Yeah, no, I still have it set up upstairs, and gosh, I might have a picture of it on my phone here, just while we're talking. But yeah, no, I still have it. I, added some cymbals and did some things to it, but I still have the same bass drum head, which is the head is like dead, but I don't want to get rid of it because it's got the old Ludwig logo on top of it. And I'm just like, no, I refuse. I refuse to get rid of this drum head because it is, excuse me. It is. Yep. Here it is. Here, let me see if I can. There it is. Hang on. Let me see.
Gosh, how long have you had that drum set now?
I got it when I was in the 6th grade. Got it when I was in 6th grade. Yeah, funny story on this one here was so this it's an Octoplus. It's a Vista Light yellow, and Mel Hart's Music, and so as a kid, elementary, you go to Mel Hart's Music, get stuff. And anyway, I started band. And we go to Mel Hart's and just look at all these drums. They'd have these Ludwig drums, these Vista Lights, and just tons of them. And you're just like drooling. Ugh. So anyway, I had an old Apollo set, a trap set that my dad found and, bought it for me when I was, I don't know, 3rd, 4th grade or whatever. That's what I played for years. Anyway, so my dad calls and says, hey, and of course, Dad was in the loan business and he knows other folks in the loan business as well. So he gives me a call one afternoon. He says, hey, son, go over to, to whatever loan company and take a look. There's a drum set back there. Take a look at it. I said, oh, okay, Dad, I'll go. So my mom took me over there and I go ask for Mr. Ramos. I say, Ramos. Mr. Ramos, yeah, says, I'm Leo Marroquin. Ah, you're about this. Yeah. Here, let me show you what I got. So we go to the back of his room and it's this Vista Light drum set. It's all in pieces, right? Just kind of stacked. Well, he had a loan company as well. And so what had happened was that he had lent money to buy this drum and it was his collateral. The guy couldn't pay. So he took his collateral. He took the drum set, right? And so my dad was like, hey, go check out the drum set, right? So I checked it out. I was like, I'm having a heart attack because I'm going like, oh my God. It's a Ludwig. It's a Vista Light. It's yellow. And I'm just like, Mom, do you understand it? And I'm calling Dad. Dad, what? Dad, it's a Vista Light. Okay, mijo, it's a Vista Light. Dad, you don't understand. How much does he want for it? He says, well, he wants $800 for it. I'm going, what? $800. Well, at that time, that Vista Light was anywhere from $1,500, $1,700, $1,800. So to
Yeah.
pick it up for $1,800 back in, this would have been 1970, 78 was a steal, because I would look at that price tag, 1,200, 1,800, you get up to the 10, and I was like, wow. Oh, my dad bought it, but he said, "You won't pay me back." Okay, I said, "No, Dad, I'll pay you back." You know how Dad was. You know how Uncle Balde was, right?
Yeah.
So I had my old Apollo set. I sold it for like $300. So, got the cash from the guy. The guy took my old drum set and got my $300. And okay, Dad, here you go. And okay. And my dad had a golden ledger. He had a golden ledger on all of us. There wasn't a penny. If he lent you a freaking dime, it was
It's in the book.
it was in the book, man. So so here we go. I mean, I cut so many yards for free, if you will, for him. He'd pay me like $5-10 to. I mean, he'd give me the money. He'd say, "Here, mira, here's your money," and then I'd take the money and I just give it right back to him. Because I mean, hey, this is old school, right? I mean, he wanted you to feel what it felt like to have the money in your hand and it be yours, and then have to release it and give it back. That was him.
Somebody else.
And then, I cut other people's yards. I had I did something for the newspaper, and man, whatever little gig I can find, wash cars, whatever. I mean, it took me a couple of summers, but I got that $800, fully paid back to him and everything. And I still have it. I can't part with it. It's too sentimental.
There's no telling what it's worth now.
I have, several years ago, I looked at it, and I just can't remember, but, I mean, it's pretty much vintage. Some of the lugs broke off, and I had to go, on the internet, eBay, and find those particular lugs, because I don't think they make them anymore, because I couldn't find anything in Ludwig. And so you just have to go around to these old drum shops that have all these spare parts and get it, and put the lugs back on them and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's, for all intents and purposes, in pretty mint condition. Original rims. I mean, everything. The original stands. I still use the original hi-hat stand. That hi-hat stand still keeps going. And the only thing that I didn't have on it was a Speed King. I didn't have the Ludwig Speed King bass pedal. So I had to do that. And then, man, I had the silver Deepwell snare drum with it, and a buddy wanted it real bad, and I ended up trading him or selling it to him, which I just should have never done. And so yeah, so I've put another snare on it, but yeah, it still rocks. Not that good, because the player behind it ain't that. My chops aren't that good. I played for the church for a while, and up until about COVID, actually, I was playing pretty consistently through about 2015 to 2018, 20, and a little bit after COVID as well. And then, we stopped going to the church that we were going to, that I was playing with, and I really haven't played much since, other than I'll just go upstairs and just tootle around.
Mine are gone.
Yours are gone completely?
Yeah, they're all gone. It was, I can't use my right foot anymore. And so it was like, I tried.
Yeah.
And even sitting on the stool is just almost impossible. I was going to have a special seat made, and I was going to have to do all this, and if I was doing it as a job or something, I would, we would have to make adjustments, but it sat in one of the other rooms, and it was all set up, but I hadn't played it, and I couldn't tell you the last time I played it. And I kept listening to Tracy, we could do something else with that room if you got all those drums out of there. And I said, leave my drums alone.
Yeah.
And, she'd always threaten to take them out, and we'd get in arguments about it. And I've got a really dear friend of mine, Dale. I promised him years ago. He asked me, this has been many years ago. He asked me, he goes, if you ever sell your drums, can I have first right of refusal? And I said, absolutely. I said, you'll be the first to know if I decide to ever sell them. And then one day I finally just gave into it, and I told Tracy, said, "Fine, if you want them gone, I'll go ahead and sell them." And so I texted my friend Dale, and I said, "Hey, you want all these damn drums?" And he says, "What time? When can I come get them? How much?" And everything. And
Yeah. What did
we
you
set
have?
it up.
What were you playing?
They were Pearl. They were Pro DLX,
Okay.
and I love those drums. I had a lot of fun with them, but it just got to be to where I just couldn't play anymore. Now I did keep my cajon, though. I still have that, but
Yeah.
everything else is gone. I gave him everything. I've got one snare that I didn't. I've got an old Gretsch snare that I still haven't even figured out what year it is. It's an old one. And, I kept it, but he got everything else. That and the cajon. But that's the only thing you can't have. You can't have my sticks, and you can't have my stick bag, and you can't. But the drums and everything, they're all yours. And so he loaded them up and took them.
Yeah, I got
So I'm drumless now.
Are you? I got a stick collection like you, right? You like keeping your sticks. I got stick collections from back in high school, from my drumline days, and my DC-10 drumsticks that are taped up white. When you did all of the fancy moves, and I got those. I got some. Yeah. That's one of the things. I mean, these sticks are like, oh man, the things I played with these sticks. You just want to hang on to them, and I think it's pretty cool.
I just collect them now. I've got some that are up on the walls, and
I've got and then I buy we are messengers, and I've got casting crowns here, and some others. So I go to these concerts, Newsboys. I got some up there, these sticks that they sell for souvenirs and junk like that. But yeah.
I've got a pair on the wall that Kenny Aronoff gave me. He was playing, I forget what show I was doing, and he was playing with John Fogerty.
No.
And there was an arena next to where the venue was, and they were playing in there. And I just happened to roam over there and just check on everybody. And I saw one of Kenny's cases there, and I went, wait a minute. And I said, is Aronoff here? And they go, oh, yeah, he's right here somewhere. And so I just went over to check on my camera people and stuff, and my lead camera operator, she was down there with me. And so I just came in, was listening to sound check. And when we got done, and she goes, well, why are you here? And I said, I want to hear the drummer play. And she goes, oh, okay. And so we sat there through sound check, and I was like, okay, I got to go back. She goes, hey, Kenny. And he was still back behind his drums, and he goes, yeah. And he goes, can you come here for a minute? And I was like, don't do this. I said, don't do this. So here he comes over. He goes, do you guys want to meet John? And I was like, no. I said, I want to meet you. And he turned out to be the nicest guy on the planet. He jumped off the stage. We sat out there and visited for a while. We took pictures, and, we talked about this and that and everything. And he gave me a pair of sticks. And so that was my brush with greatness with him. And then I've got a pair of Vinnie Pauls on the wall too, but he gave me those. God, I don't even remember he gave me those.
Yeah.
He probably threw them at me, knowing him.
Yeah.
He loved to give me a hard time. But I'm just I'm slowly kind of rebuilding the inside of this area, because it's just I've got stuff everywhere, and I'm just trying to kind of make some sense of it now. I lost a bunch of stuff too. We moved. I had a lot of stuff just disappeared. You know the old saying, you don't realize how much crap you got until you move. Man, I had a lot of stuff, and a lot of it just I think maybe Tracy was throwing it in the trash or something. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, if we ever moved, we've been here in this house for 20 years, and we've moved 4 times. And the last time we moved from Denton, actually, the last time we moved was from Denton. We moved back down here, and ended up moving in this house after we built it. But I'm looking at all this stuff going like, yeah. I wouldn't want to move out of this place.
When we moved here, I told her, I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm not moving anymore. I'm finished.
Yeah.
because that was a nightmare. Because we moved over the weekend, and then like the following Monday or Tuesday, I had to leave town. I had a show to do. And so I had to leave. So
Yeah.
we just unloaded the trucks in the house, and then I left.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I left Tracy in the middle of this mess, and we got it all straightened out. We've been here for, well, we're going on 16 years now.
Wow.
But I told her, I said, that's it. I'm not doing it again.
Right.
And now Mom lives next door.
Yeah.
We live on 2 acres. These shops on one side of the house, and then on the other side of the house, we had just this huge area.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a big giant yard, and Mom was living on 40 acres, and she wanted to move.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, just come build your place next door to us. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh no, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to be encroaching. I said, you're not encroaching on me. Just move over there, because people go, you going to put your mom in a home?
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that.
And I said, you do realize I'm part Mexican, and I'd get calls from the family down there from left and right if I did that. You don't put your mother in a home.
Hey, one thing I'm finally glad after, and I don't know how many years you've been doing this, but you're finally rolling your R's in Marroquin.
It took. I used to get people would give me a hard time.
I would give you a hard time because
You
you would
would
say,
give me a hard time,
I would give
but
you the hardest time because we were kids. I'm Gavan Marroquin. What?
I'm Marroquin.
And then Marroquin. You would
dude.
say Marroquin, and you would say Marroquin. I said, Marroquin? No, you got to roll them R's, gringo. Come on. I know you're half a gringo, but man, you gotta roll them R's. And Marroquin. I was like, no.
I flew down to the valley for something. I don't remember what I had flown down there for. I'm sure it was probably for Grandma or Aunt Linda or something. But I was coming back, and there was a guy there, and he was a border patrolman, and
probably Richard, one of our cousins.
No, I don't know who he was. I didn't know him, but
okay.
I handed him my license, and he goes, how do you say your last name? And I went, Marroquin. And he sat there silently holding it, and he looked at it, and he looked at me, and he looked at my license, he looked back at me, and he goes, you want to try that again? And I went, Marroquin. He said, okay, you can go now. And believe it or not,
is that what it took?
I had a security guy in Denver do that to me as well.
Really?
Time. Yeah. He goes, how do you say your last name? I said, Marroquin. He goes, no. And I went, yeah, pretty much.
Well, it's kind of funny because the other day.
Funny was,
yeah, go ahead.
We did the what was it? The United AIDS Conference in Mexico City.
Okay.
And so, of course, all my locals they're all Mexican nationals. And so everybody spoke English, and we were all cool together,
Yeah.
And my union steward one day, there was one of the guys on the crew would go run down to some place. I don't know where he'd found them, but he'd bring back these shrimp cocktails that were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'd send him out for lunch all the time and buy them for us. And so I wrote my name on there one day, and the steward comes up with the sheet, and he's pointing at my name, and he goes, who is that? Who's that right there? And I said, it's me.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, no, it's not. And I said, yeah, it is. And I literally pulled my license out and showed him. I said, that's me.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's my last name.
Really?
And I went, no, it's not. And he goes, yeah, it is. And so we started talking, and he goes, we're mutts, right? And I said, well, pretty much everybody's mutts, but he goes, no, we're really mutts. And then when your sister sent that letter out that one time, it broke down kind of the family history.
Right.
And where it went through, and it went through
the Morocco. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was there. We have Moors in the bloodline, Jews. There's just, and I started seeing all this, and I went, he was right. We are mutts.
Well, so funny story. Funny story. So Alma and I, we were watching these cooking shows years and years ago, and there was this cooking show, a Moroccan food restaurant in San Antonio. right? And so Al and I, we go to San Antonio, a couple of times a year just to get away for the weekend and everything. I says, hey, you know what? Let's go to this Moroccan restaurant because our name Marroquin is Morocco, okay, which is from Morocco. So it derives from that part of the country, but a lot of from Morocco. Anyway, so the gal, person who's waiting on us happens to be the owner and everything as well. And I says, hey, got a question. You're from Morocco? Oh yeah, no, we're from Morocco. Family's from Morocco. We came to the United States, opened up this restaurant. I says, great. I says, can you tell me about the name? Are you familiar with the name Marroquin? And she goes, well, yeah. I go, can you tell me a little bit about that? He goes, well, so the Moroccans, they have their own area of Morocco. Okay. I said, all right. Yeah. They're a clan. They have their own area. All right. And he said, and they're very, very proud people, and they look out for each other. And kind of like if you mess with a Marroquin, you're going to mess with the other Marroquin. She says, how can I put this? Like the Sicilians of Italy? I go, yeah. It goes, well, they're kind of that, but in Morocco.
In Morocco. Well, that's good to know.
And a kind of funny thing, too. So this past week, I was interviewing somebody on the radio, and I mentioned my name. I says, yeah, my name is Leo Marroquin. Oh, and he's from France. And he goes, Marroquin. Oh, like, whoa, And, well, it turns out, too, and I've had this happen to me when I've traveled to Canada. Well, what's your last name? Leo Marroquin. Oh, you're French. I go, I am? Yes, you're French. And I go, wow, okay, I'm French, and I'm also Moroccan, I'm also Spanish, and I'm also Jewish, and I'm also this. But so, hey, pick it. You want to be Moroccan, you can be Moroccan. You want to be French, you can be French.
We were down in we were in Florida. I don't remember if we were in Miami or Orlando where we were. We were out eating one day. We were on lunch break and we were eating, and so a bunch of us are sitting at the table, and when the bills all came, we all threw our credit cards in, and and the waitress comes back. Well, she was Haitian.
Mm.
And so she came back and she was naming out names and handed cards back. She goes, who's Mr. Marquois?
Marquois.
And I went, come again? She goes, who's Mr. Marquois? And I said, show that to me. And she showed it to me. And I said, that's me. And I said, why? What's with the pronunciation? She goes, that's how we pronounce it. It's Marquois. And I went, well, that's a new one. I've never heard that one before. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But there was a place down in Houston that I was at for a little while working down there, and they had a guy that would set up a big trailer every weekend, and he would sell fajitas and stuff. His last name was Marroquin.
Yeah, wow.
And it was like, wow, I'm just running into him everywhere now. But now we're few and far between again, I guess. Let's want to go to Morocco or something.
Yeah, there is, and it's just like here in the Valley. I mean, there's really two clans of Marroquins. We're on the the Mercedes Weslaco, that side of Marroquins, and then there's another clan of Marroquins in the Mission area. And so separate clans, but two clans. And every time, oh, Marroquin, do you know Saul Marroquin? Because he used to be a congressman. Go, yeah, I know Saul. Are you really? No, that's the other clan of Marroquins. And then so we have this other one. But yeah, I mean, there's a few of us. We're still out there.
We're still around.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to, now this was on your mother's side.
What's that?
They were on your mom's side, but it was the guy that he owned the Mexican restaurants.
Well, yeah, no, the Leals. Yeah, so my tío,
the Leals,
The Leals, yeah, no, they're still alive and kicking. As a matter of fact, my tía Irma, she's still alive. She's 93, 94. We thought we were going to lose her right before Christmas, but she ended up pulling through, and no, she's just fine. Yeah, my tío Noé. And then all my cousin, all my Leal's Mexican food. If you're up in West Texas, Muleshoe, Lubbock, Plainview, West Texas, Panhandle, all that area. If you've eaten at a Leal's restaurant, that's our cousin.
That was because they had one in Whitesboro.
They had one in Whitesboro, yes. Yeah,
And that's the one that I
long
always
time
go
ago.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've been
back in
gone for a while. Yeah, Victor actually runs the original restaurant in Muleshoe, the one that started it all.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that was Victor's. Yeah, that was Victor's. And then Laura has 2 in Clovis, New Mexico. So she has 2 there. And then my other cousins, the other Ansalduas from my Tío Noé's side, they have their restaurants as well. Theirs is Juanitos. One of my cousins married, married somebody named Juanitos. So gotta see it. Juanitos is their branch. Almost kind of the same food, because actually Juan was working for my Tío Chuy at Leal's, and of course had all the recipes and everything. And then so when he went off on his own, actually married my cousin, they went off and did their own thing. So yeah, no, it's great food. It's great Tex-Mex.
It's amazing food.
Panhandle.
Yeah, we used to drive up to Whitesboro.
Well, I mean, really, frankly, it's the way we make food. So, I would eat at the restaurant and I'd go like, wow, man, this tastes like mom's carne guisada, or, the carne guisada that my mom would make, or the tacos, or, the enchiladas and everything. Same thing, same recipe. So the way we cooked at home was, you eat at Leal's. And this is how we cook. This is how our grandmother, Guadalupe and cooked here in Mercedes. Started off at a tortilla factory in Mercedes, Texas. So that's kind of where it all started.
Tortilla factory.
Mm-hmm. And they still have. They have their own tortilla factory up in Muleshoe. As a matter of fact, you can buy Leal's. You might be able to buy it at an IGA store. Leal's chips.
Really?
And salsa. Yeah, they do their own chips and salsa. Mm-hmm.
We don't have IGA, but we get HEB. We don't have IGA.
Yeah, I don't think they're in HEBs, but yeah.
I thought about them one day, and I thought, I wonder if that restaurant's still up there in Whitesboro or not.
No, that's been gone for a long time.
Yeah, that was in the mid 80s.
Yeah, that was right after we got married in 86, 87.
You guys been married that long now, huh?
We're going to be 40 years in April. 40 years. It'll be 40 years, brother, since you put on that tuxedo, that long coattail tuxedo. I should bring a picture.
Got into the car wreck.
The car. Oh, man, dude. Yeah. So the story is Gavan and I were in a car wreck on my wedding day because I had to go to the bank and had to get some money for the band that night. And so Gavan and I are cruising down Main Street. We were a block away from the house. And of course, all accidents happen, a block or so away from you. Mm. Anyway, we're just cruising. We had the right of way. Some lady pulled up to a stop sign. I don't know, didn't see us. And we T-boned her. And I remember she just got out of that car and going, "You guys were just driving so fast. You guys were just driving so fast."
Oh, she was wearing us out.
Oh, man. I was just like, lady, you're the one that just ran that stop sign. Like, come on, and whatever. And so the front of the car was totaled. It was my 1984 Honda Prelude. And so you remember this. So we had to call a tow truck. And we had to tow the car. And of course, Alma and I had already bought our house. And it was a carport and not a garage. So if you recall, the tow truck came and backed the car into the carport. So the front of the car, you would have seen it was totaled. I mean, it was crunched. Oh, yeah, and then you and I don't know if you remember this, but you and I'm going like, oh, shoot. Because Alma's family was down for the wedding. This is the wedding day. And I said, if she passes by the house and sees the car wrecked, she's going to freak. Or a relative of hers or sister's going to, hey, went by the house and when did you all wreck the car? Wrecked what car, right? So you and I, thank God it still rolled and we could turn it. We pushed it out. We turned it around and put it in the carport, so the back of the car could show.
You could see the nose of it. Yeah, I remember doing that.
So we go through the wedding. We have the wedding and everything. It was so funny because I was pale. And so my mom, was like, Ay, ¿qué pasa con mi hijo? Does he not want to get married? I mean, he looks like he's white as a ghost, and oh my God, does he not? And the whole thing. So this is going through her head because she, a mama knows her son, right? Just like your mom knows you. She can tell. She can look at you and go like, "All right, Gavin, what's wrong?" Right? Moms have those things. So anyway, so we go through the wedding. You're there and go through the whole ceremony and the whole 9 yards, and then we go leave, and Alma's like, "Hey, where's our car?" Like, our car. It was my Prelude, but yeah, that was our car. That was our dating car. That was our car. Where's our car? I go, well, it's our wedding night. I wanted to use Dad's, white Cadillac because Dad had a Cadillac at that time. So she's like, I wanted to leave in our car. So I'm like, oh God, what am I?
Whoops, can't do that.
Whoops. So the next morning we wake up and I go, well, I got something to tell you. I go, I wrecked the car. And then the first thing she said, what did Gavin do? What did Gavin do?
What did I do?
What did Gavin make you do? I go, no. This wasn't Gavin's problem, man.
I want everybody to understand. I was not always the catalyst in everything. I was not. Most of it, yes, but not all of it. All I remember is that my knees took that dashboard out.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. We went boom, and you're like, oh,
we hit her hard.
And then we just kind of look at each other because we saw the steam. Of course, the radiator busted, so you had all the steam come out. And I remember you and I looking at each other like, it's gonna blow. So we get out of the car, and when we get out of the car, the lady's like,
oh my God!
When the cop came,
she just wore us out.
She was just like, and they were going so fast, and the cop was like, "Lady, I'm sorry, you ran the stop sign." Okay, so anyway, yeah, that was
fun.
That was fun. That was fun.
I don't remember. I think it was Uncle Mike. Maybe it was him. He's the one that found the bar in the hotel. Didn't you? Where was your reception?
It was at a hotel. It was at a hotel.
Okay,
yeah,
I thought it was.
Yeah, there was a bar and a restaurant in a hotel.
See, I can tell people something about a Mexican wedding.
Okay,
you can go to the wedding, and there might be 20, 25 people there.
Yeah. The reception
then you go to the reception. There's 900 people there.
Oh, there were. And it was crazy because it was like, oh my God, where are we going to fit everybody? Because we had more people show up than, I think we almost invited, but it was kind of funny because back then, at least for us, the wedding was at 7:00. So it was a late reception. So there wasn't, quote, any dinner because everybody figured, okay, they're going to eat dinner. They're going to go to the wedding at 7. And then they do, we do the dance from 9 to midnight. And the only thing that we would serve back then would be, coffee. We cut the cake and pan de polvo and just stuff like that. So there wasn't a big, it's not like now to where when your child gets married, like, when my daughter, well, you're at, Vanessa's wedding. I mean, you put out the whole spread. It's an afternoon wedding, and then you feed everybody, a 3-course meal and everything. But back when we got married, it wasn't that way. You got married at 7:00 at night or 6:00 at night, and then you went to the reception. You had cake and cookies, and you danced. That's all it was. And that's what ours was.
I was like I was looking around. I was going, where in the hell were you people during the wedding?
And our wedding, the church service was pretty full. It had some people, but no, you're right. Everybody's at the reception.
Yeah, no, there wasn't nearly as many people at the wedding there were at the reception.
I know.
I remember Uncle Mike coming. Hey, come with me. I found a bar. Okay, all right, let's go.
Yeah. No, those were some good times. That was 1986. So this year it's going to be 40 years, 40-year wedding anniversary.
I think we're coming up on. I don't even remember when we got.
You better remember, Bo.
It was in 3, so we're coming up on 20.
23.
Where are we? 26 now?
Yeah. 23 for 3. So you're either
23 years.
23 or 24, depending on what month you got married. Yeah.
Yeah, we got married in September, so it'll be 23 years. How old were you when you got married?
We had just turned 20.
Yeah, I thought that's what I thought because mom always had it. She always had this thing. She always told Candy and I, she said, "Don't get married before you're 30." And so I Candy got married when she was 27. She was 26 or 27 when she got married. And then I don't remember how long they were married before they got divorced. And then I got engaged when I was 27. She was I always feel bad about it. Uh, and I'm sitting there thinking, and I just completely don't remember her name all of a sudden. Isn't that sad when you don't? Well, anyway, I'd met this girl. Well, she was from the Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and all of her family knew all of our family.
Wow, I never knew that one.
Yeah, because she told her parents one day, they go, "Who's this guy that you're going out with?" And I had met her parents. No, I hadn't met him yet. And she goes, "Oh, his name's Gavan." She goes, "What's his last name?" And she said, "Marroquin." And they go, "Not the Marroquins from the Valley?" And she said, "Yeah."
No, not.
And they were like, "Oh my God." And then the stories that they would tell her, what they were like, and she said, "Oh, his dad and Balde and everybody, they were just hellacious in high school, and they were just always doing something.
Really?
Something was always going on with them."
That's hard.
And
That's hard to believe, but okay.
yeah, not with my dad, it wasn't. Trust
Okay,
me.
not with your dad. My dad was, you know him. I mean, he was straight and narrow. But hey, we weren't exactly saints in high school either. So
Nah, but it was I felt bad because we ended up we ended up breaking off the engagement, and it was because of me, because I knew deep down inside that if I had gotten married at that time, we would have never made it. It would have never happened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I couldn't live with that. So she and I talked about it, and I just said I just can't. I don't know, whatever. I hope, I pray that she met a wonderful person and that she has a great life, and I hope she's got a bunch of kids and they're doing wonderful. But I have not seen her, heard a word from her since that day we split up, and
Wow.
that was that.
Yeah.
But it was on me, and I took full responsibility for it. And
Sure.
I told her, I said, it has nothing to do with you. It was one of those, it's not you, it's me kind of things. But
Right.
it just wasn't, it wouldn't have been fair to her
Right.
if we got, because I would have screwed that up royally.
Right. Yeah.
I would have blown that out of the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I did what Mom said, and I waited till I was almost 40 before I got married. I think I
Wow.
I got married the year, I was 30. I turned 39 that year that I got married. It just, well, it was time.
Yeah.
My stepdad said that, he goes, we were talking about it one day about marriage and stuff. And I said, "How do you know?" And he goes, "You'll know."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Because the one will come along one day and everything will just stop. And and all the outside thoughts and all that stuff, that's all going to go away. And it's just all the focus goes to this one person."
Right.
And I thought, I'm having too much fun. Maybe this isn't going to happen. I don't think this is going to, and then she shows up, and then it all went to hell from there. So it's it's,
That's funny.
but she wants to shoot me most days, but it's we're having to make we had to make some serious life changes.
Yeah.
When all everything happened to me, and and I think most everybody knows I've got MS, so it took a. Well, I was warned there was a neurologist that warned me. He says, when you turn 60, he said, things are going to change.
Mm.
And I didn't really, wasn't thinking, and change how, what are we looking at?
Right.
And never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be like this.
Yeah.
But at least I'm still breathing. I've lost a couple of friends to it, and it was. I have another friend that's got it, and I think they just upgraded him to primary progressive, and they upgraded me to secondary progressive. So, and that's when things quit working, and that's when my right leg quit working.
Yeah.
So now I sit in this stupid wheelchair on a daily basis and just get around that way. But
hey, you're still getting around, and
I'm still getting around.
That's as much as you look at it, still a blessing from God.
Oh yeah, no, I don't, I don't. It's like it's hard on Tracy. I know because like she'll, when she peeks in, sometimes she'll go, well, I just want to make sure you weren't laying on the floor. And I was like, why would I be laying on the floor?
Yeah.
She goes, well, you could have fallen out of your chair. She goes, you've done it before. And I said, yeah, but that was kind of I don't know. But
yeah, it's I mean, here just recently, but we're going on month number 7 here. Alma had her left hip replaced. She had to do
I
a
remember that. You told me
she had to do a full hip replacement surgery, and for 2 weeks I was her caretaker. 24/7. I had to get her out of bed. I had to, pull her out of bed, and if she had to go to the restroom at 2 a.m., I was there. Honey. I was like, okay.
Now, when she had that done, was she up and mobile long after that, or did it take her a while for her to get?
Well, no, they wanted her up and walking before she left the hospital.
Okay,
but we're talking about, it's not like, oh, hey, I'm going for a walk. No, it's, you got to walk her, and let's just take a step and put some pressure on it and see if you can take the second step, that type thing. Okay, great. You're mobile. You got out of bed. You can put some weight on it. Okay, you're good to go. But she was technically, she's never wheelchaired or anything like that. But from day one, she was using a walker, but she was stepping. She was just like very gingerly and everything. But man, to get her out of bed, and we had 24/7 cold packs on her for 2 weeks. I likened it to I said, man, babe, you know what this feels like? This feels like I'm a 60-year-old. I just married a 27-year-old and had a baby. I'm feeding you. I'm changing you. 2:00 feedings, 4:00 feedings. Cause it would be, I have to give her pain medication. If it was due at 2 a.m., it's due at 2 a.m. And she would I'd be next to her in the bed. She'd just hit me, honey, sweetie, honey, my medicine. Okay. Or I got to go to the restroom. And so, you just have to turn her and just 2 weeks straight. 2 weeks straight. Thank God we had some help from the church bringing food, and our neighbors around here bringing food. Yeah, I told her, man, it's like a 60-year-old marrying a 27-year-old and having a baby.
So in case if y'all are just not joining us, this is my cousin Leo, and this is the Old Guy channel. We're talking about how we're breaking down, and it's you go from, I felt it coming on.
Yeah.
I always felt it coming on. And I noticed that, people I were working with started noticing things. And so I was always very careful about, and then one day I was back behind the drape off of the stage right somewhere, and I had come through the drape. Well, we had those LED strips down along the base of the drape, uplighting everything.
Yeah.
Well, I stepped through it and got blinded by a light, hooked my foot on it, and threw me off into the floor, and
Oh,
everybody's all freaked out. And I was like going, nobody saw this. Just let me lay here for a minute. And I said, and then I called my biggest stagehand over there, called him over there, and I said, okay, now grab me by the hands and help me up. Well, man, he snatched me up off the floor like it was nothing. He just plopped me right back up. And I said, there you go. We're done. But I I kept noticing these little things were happening more and more.
yeah.
And after I had that, I had that back surgery,
Right.
and it wasn't a major one. They went and put 3 little pins in between
Hmm.
on my left hip where the what nerve is it? My SL nerve
Yeah. Your
goes through there.
S1s.
And
Yeah.
well, anyways, it was crushed in between
Mm,
my 2 bones because they had collapsed.
right.
And the doctor told me, he goes, they're starting to fuse together. So he said, we're going to go through and just cut it apart, and we'll just put pins in there, and it won't. And it was like, I don't even think it lasted an hour.
Yeah.
They did it. They put me in a wheelchair, put me in the car, and sent me home.
Yep.
And
Yeah. I've
then
had
all
2
of a
back
sudden,
surgeries, and that's kind of the way it is. You get in, you get out. Okay, you're good.
yeah,
We'll send
and
you home.
it's just like, and it was 2 little cuts that he put there, nothing major, no major incisions or anything. And then all of a sudden, I started falling,
Mm,
and that's when it all started. And I
wow.
went, here we go. What is all this about? And the last one I had a really, really bad fall. I was up in the front of the house. I went in the front bathroom for something, and I don't know, I was doing, I just walked in to get something or something. And the next thing I know, I'm laying in between the toilet and the bathtub, and I'm
Mm,
about half knocked out. And I'm like going, what is going on? And I had fallen and had gone in between there. And so Tracy's there, and Mom had stopped by, and they were like going, what do we do? Because they weren't getting me out of that mess. I said,
yeah.
call 911, tell them to send the fire department. She called 911. The fire department showed up. Ambulance showed up. It looked like we were in trouble.
Yeah.
And they came in and they said, well, we got to get you out of there. And I said, well, that would be nice. And so they got me out.
You
They got me
think?
in the wheelchair, and they were taking all my vitals and
Yeah.
everything was cool. And they said, do you want to go to the hospital? I said, no. I said, I'll be sore in the morning, but no, I didn't break anything, and that was hurt. But after that, then everything started progressing a lot faster.
Yeah.
And, I was going to physical therapy because the way I banged myself up, and then all of a sudden my right leg one day just stopped, and it stuck in a 90-degree position. And they
That's
said,
crazy. That
and
is
it
so
was,
crazy.
and my therapist couldn't do anything with it. And they said, we got to figure out what this is. So I went I went and saw several doctors, and they kept saying, it's your MS is doing it. And I said, no, it's not. I didn't want to hear it. Is what it
Right.
was. I didn't want to hear it. And I said, no, it's not. There's something going on. And after doctor, and x-rays and MRIs, everything else, and and finally I got a new neurologist, and
Yeah.
I walked in, and he just looked at me. He said, I said, is this my MS? And he goes, yep. And I
Mm,
said, and he goes, you're secondary progressive. He goes, I
wow.
can see it. And he was an older doctor.
Yeah.
He goes, I can see it. And I said, well, is it going to go primary? And he goes, nah. He goes, and he said, you can go to therapy. And what they do is they shoot Botox in my leg.
Mm,
And they do that, like, I don't know, every 3 months. I think they want to do it.
yeah.
But I've got a friend that has a sister that has it, and he's been taken to a clinic down in Tijuana, if you can imagine. But they do stem cell down there,
Yeah.
and she has done amazing. And she wasn't even walking, but now she's back up walking. She's mobile.
Yeah.
She's doing a lot of things she couldn't do before. And so Tracy and I have talked about it. We're thinking about maybe making that trip and seeing how that goes.
Well,
But
before you
I
do
don't
that, try some WD-40.
know. Yeah, that might work. Just drink a bunch of that. Why not? I just, there's a friend of mine and got a good friend of mine, and, he has rheumatoid arthritis,
Mm,
and his wife is was just, she just was going through cancer, and they just came back and said everything was clear. Well, they had been going up to a clinic up in Oklahoma, and they would they were getting these injections, they were putting these IVs in them, and he told me, he goes, "The first time they did it," he goes, "Now," he goes, "My legs, the pain in my legs was just awful and everything." He goes, I couldn't squat down, I couldn't bend up, it's hard to
mm,
bend over and do stuff," and he goes, "I went up there and they gave me the infusion, and then they said, 'Now, I need you to stand up,'" and he stood up and the nurse goes, "Now I need you to squat down as far as you can." He was thinking, he goes, I can't. I
mm.
don't," and she goes, "No, you need to do it." And, he goes, "I almost squatted all the way to the floor." And I went, "Whoa."
Wow.
And she is doing wonderful too because, she's not experiencing any pain or anything. And so he gave me the name of it, and I called them and I said, "Do you guys deal with MS?" And she goes, "Oh, we do." And so it's like you go up there, it's like $300, you have to pay him in cash, and he told me, he goes, "When we got there, there were so many cars in the parking lot with so many
Mm,
different state license plates,
mm.
people going in there and doing it." So I started reading about him, and people just swear by it, and so we're
Wow.
going up next week, and we're gonna get her to try and see what happens.
Hey,
It may work, it may not,
at
but,
this point, hey, at this point, $300, what do you have to lose? A
no,
little bit of
because,
time.
the Tijuana trip's 5,000. And I said, "Well, but you're there the whole week, then you go through a week full
Yeah,
of therapy,"
right.
but, he swears by that. But I said, let's go up north and we'll do the $300 one, see how that goes
Yeah,
before we
right.
invest in the 5 and
Exactly.
go to Tijuana,
Yeah. Yep.
because 'cause I'll probably be going to Tijuana by myself because she's not going to Tijuana.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
When he told me that, he goes, "Yeah, we're going to taking my sister to this clinic down in Tijuana." I went, "Tijuana? What? No." And he goes, "No, you wouldn't believe this place." And so I went online and saw it. It's amazing. This place is beautiful, and it's
Mm,
just there's a hotel right next door.
yeah,
And they just shuttle you back and forth. And he
right.
said they come get you at the airport and take you down. It just, and I thought, it might be worth a
Yeah, I mean, if they're
try
doing it that
if
way, there's some safety to it, why not? I'm not a
and then
big risk taker.
I'm not either anymore. Used to be, but not so much anymore. But, it was, the way that he talked about it, what it did for his sister, I said, "It may be worth the trip, but, we'll see what happens." It's just a the bitch of getting older, so you just have to kinda take it for what it's worth.
It is. That's it.
What else you gonna do?
What else can you do? I mean,
Not a thing.
not a thing. You just, your time on earth and whatever you do with it, right?
Oh, yeah, it's just, it's just, trying to, lead a good life, and I I had fun. I had probably too much fun at some points, but, we did okay, but, I would tell people I tell the younger people nowadays, I said, "What you do today," I said, "you'll pay that bill one day. You will, so think about that.
Yeah, I mean,
What
Alma's,
what you think
yeah,
what you think is cool and fun right now, mm-mm."
right. Well, it's just like without, I mean, she was athletic. She was athletic and she continued to be, and she coached and she ran and she jogged and she's like, don't do it. Don't be so hard on your body. She
Well,
goes, in high
Tracy and
school,
I,
okay, get it. You're going to be that. But man, you're 30s and 40s and don't go trying to run marathons when you're in the 40s.
Tracy and I we did CrossFit,
Well,
and
yeah, no, I couldn't do it. I'm not a gym guy. I'm not one of those guys. My morning routine, because my bad back, I get up, I stretch my back, I do my, I'm on the floor and I, bring my knees up to my chest. I do that, and then, I stretch out my back. And stretch out that, and I do crunches in the morning, and then I turn around and then I do push-ups, and I have some little weight band, those bands that I do, and I just do some curls and boom, every morning. That's it. That's all I do. And I've been doing that for the last, probably 15 years now. And, I got a little belly, but hey,
we all got that.
just a little something every day, is good for you, good for the soul, just like with me. And I read the word every day, and, it just fulfills my soul, and, keeps my head in the right place and doing the right things. And, hey, that's what you need.
And it's when we were doing CrossFit, there was a girl I used to work with that her husband, her then husband owned a gym in Arlington, and it was called what was it called? What is it called? It's Metroflex, and that's where Ronnie Coleman trained, who was Mr. Universe. I can't tell you how many times he was, but
Yeah.
and so she opened a box, and so she told me, and she did it where we lived, and she did it here in town. And so she goes, "If I do this, you got to come join. You got to promise me you're going to join." And I was like going, "Don't do this." And she said, "Nope, you got to come join." And so I said, "Okay, fine." So I made a deal with her, and Tracy and I joined, and we started doing CrossFit. And of course, she had to kind of redo my workouts because there's some things I just could not do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was burpees. If I got on the floor, I wasn't getting back up anytime soon. So, but I can honestly say that I was probably the most healthiest I had been in, I mean, years.
Mm-hmm.
And Tracy was too. She was amazing. She would, there was one day we were doing something, and she goes, "Where's this?" I said, "I think it's in the back of the truck." And she just stood on the back tire and threw herself up in the back truck and found it and jumped out. And I was like, what was that all about? And
CrossFit, baby, CrossFit.
she got strong too. And it was fun. And then Brandy ended up having to close it, and her partners, they all kind of split ways. So she ended up having to close it up, and so we started going to another one, and it was great. The people that ran it were great, but the workouts were different, and there were some things that I couldn't do, and then Tracy got hurt. And when she hurt herself, I stopped going too. I don't know why I did that, but I stopped going too because I was, and then later on, talking to one of my doctors, we were talking about CrossFit, and he goes, "Don't do that." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "You're too old." I said, well, no, not really. He goes, "Yeah, you're too old. Don't do that."
Yeah.
He goes, "If you want to work out," he goes, "find you a trainer. He'll structure your workouts according to your age and your physicality and everything." And it just never got to that point.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Alma and I were talking the other day. We went for a walk, and she was saying, at our age, walking is good, but walking shouldn't be primary. I mean, it's good cardio and everything, but you need to take it easy. Walking says what we should be doing at our age is really doing the strengthening, doing, like squats, like chair squats and things like that, that will help us stabilize to keep us from falling over to where that's where we get hurt. And just do a little strength training. I says, you're right. You're probably right. Wives are always right. So, what am I going to do?
my therapist does it. My physical therapist does that to me. She'll make me sit on the end of the table,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to cross my arms in front of me.
Yeah.
And then she walks around and she pushes on me. She runs into me sometimes.
Wow.
And she goes, you got to stay seated in that same position at all times.
Wow.
And I mean, she'll go around and just be wailing on me. And I'm like going, I'm going to hit you back in a minute here if you don't quit. But and I said, what were we doing? She goes, well, we're trying to strengthen your core because that's your balance.
That's where
And she
you're going to
said,
keep
we
it.
lose
That's
that.
right.
You're,
Yep.
and I've lost a lot of it. So I'm getting some of it back, but it's not coming back as fast as I would like it to. But
Yeah.
nothing ever does.
It's the geriatric show today, I guess, huh?
That's it. That's right. Feeling old? Come on to see us. We'll make you feel better.
I was on a flight years ago. And I had to take Southwest Airlines, and I was going to Houston, right? Of course, Houston's a big hub for MD Anderson and all this kind of mess. And I got on there, and oh my God. I mean, those who need assistance to go on the plane first, it was just like everybody. I'm going like, what the heck is this, man? Is this a geriatric flight or what? But sad to say.
That's the only thing about that clinic down in Tijuana that I told my friend. I said, I don't know if I want to get on a plane or not.
Yeah.
That's the only thing is just, you got to fly to San Diego, and then they're going to come pick you up, and then they take you down there. And it's not like it's a big,
yeah,
like
but you know what I mean. Out of Dallas, you're one. It's one hop, and that's it, man. You can go direct to San Diego, so it's not too bad.
It's a straight. But I just don't know if I want to get on a plane. I don't know.
Yeah.
After I stopped traveling, at first I was kind of like, this is not going to be fun. I'm going to miss this. And then the longer it went on, it was like the more I didn't miss it.
Oh yeah, I was the same way. I mean, I was just like you, Gavin. I mean, remember I was 24 years on the road, almost 75% of the time. I mean, there was a little while there that, it bumped down to maybe 50, but I mean, there was a point right before COVID, the year before COVID, I had done 14 weeks straight of travel with just one break within that 14 weeks. And Alma said, you got to stop this. You just got to stop it. And really thank God for COVID, because I think COVID saved our marriage, frankly, because it was tough. It was tough. I mean, I was gone. And, but yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I don't miss it either.
No, I really did. At first I was like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then, and Tracy was even like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because I mean,
yeah,
you develop these, like, you'd be gone. Well, Alma had things that she did, that she had a normal routine that she did while you were gone.
Yeah.
And Tracy was the same way.
You come and disrupt it.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're home all the time and you've just disrupted everything. And according to her, her life was over. It would never be the same again. And I told her, I said, and I told her when I decided that I was done, I said, I'm home now all the time. And she was like going, oh boy.
Yeah.
And, it's been,
yeah,
there's days like what you were talking about with Alma, with the hip replacement, all the thing. That's kind of how I feel with Tracy sometimes, because there's things I'll ask her to help me do. I try to be very independent of what I'm doing.
Sure.
I try to, if I'm in the kitchen, we've kind of worked everything and so I can get around and stuff, but I'll be doing some, she goes, well, why didn't you just ask me? And I said, because when I ask you, you bitch about it all the time. And so I don't ask you. She goes, well, I don't. And I was like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And so
that's just my way. It's just my way of saying
yeah. Oh yeah. She loves me terribly then too. But it was, that was the whole thing, was that, we had to get used to me being home, and then all this happened, and then there's more she had to get used to. But now it's like, I told her, I said, she goes, well, I can't go anywhere. I said, nothing's going to happen to me except she went to Vegas. They went to market in Vegas, and it was over Super Bowl weekend, and I don't remember what year it was. It's been like 3 years ago, I think, or something, and yeah, because that was not long after I'd had the surgery, and then I started falling all the time. Well, I think I fell like 3 times while she was gone, and I didn't really tell her. I didn't say much about it, and because they were out there at market, doing their stuff, and I didn't want her, sitting around worried about what I was doing. I said,
Right.
"Just go do your thing," and, so when she got home, she goes, why you got bruises on you?"
Mm.
And I was like, "I got bruises on me?" She pointed them out to me, and I had no idea. I said, "Well, I fell a couple times while you were gone." "Well why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "'Cause you didn't need to know. You had enough to worry about
And I got
out
back
there." And
up. So,
I
hey,
said,
it's all good.
"You were brave enough to go and go to market in Vegas during Super Bowl weekend."
Yeah.
So it was like, I'll just let you guys have fun. And, but, that was rough. We survived it, but it's just, it just, you just kinda gradually kinda felt it going, and it's stopped now. I mean, I don't know if I'm at where I'm gonna just be for good now, or if I'm gonna, the doctor told me, he goes, "You'll probably stand up, but you may not walk. Your leg's never gonna straighten out again."
Mm.
And, so
Yeah.
who knows? But
Sir.
we're all alive still.
Live and kicking.
Well, with one leg, kinda.
So you're literally as busy as a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest. Is
That's
that
it,
right?
pretty much. And I'm not even doing a lot of good butt kicking now. I did find out something,
What'd you find out?
that this wheelchair I'm in's too small for me.
Okay.
I started looking around. I kept thinking, I said, "I'm just not comfortable in this wheelchair." And we just bought this wheelchair because I can tell you, wheelchairs can get into the thousands of dollars.
Oh, they can get fancy.
It's unbelievable. So we didn't know what was going on. I had this old junky wheelchair that we'd gotten from somewhere, and I said, "No." And so we went out and bought this one at one of the, it was one of the drugstores here in town.
Yeah, and they didn't fit you in it? They didn't say, "Hey,
Well, we bought this one, and we thought, because we just didn't know where this was going,
Oh, yeah.
and so we just bought it so we could get around.
Yeah.
And I've been in this one now for, oh gosh, we're going on 2 years now, and it's like, and so I told her, I said, "I don't like this wheelchair." So I called this company, and I asked them, I said, "Do you take insurance?" And they said, "No, we don't do insurance, but our sister company does, so call them." And so I called them, and I said, "Hey, I'm looking for a wheelchair. How tall are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm 6'6". "Okay." He goes, "How much you weigh?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I haven't weighed myself in a long time." I said, "I'm probably, 230. Mom tells me I'm getting fat, but anyway, I thought I was all sitting around all the time. Of course I'm going to, but," and I told him that, and he goes, "And what chair are you in?" And I told him, he goes, "No, you're in the wrong chair." And I said, "Yeah, I kind of figured that."
Wow.
So now I have to go. I'm going to see my doctor tomorrow. He has to write a prescription. Then he sends it to them. And then I have to go with my physical therapist and get with them, and that they have to all get together and go over some stuff. Then they have to come take all my measurements, and then they build the wheelchair for me. And I went, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You're the size of person that cannot just go into a wheelchair store and buy one off the floor." He goes, "You can't do that because they're not built for you." I just kept wondering, why does my back hurt all the time? Well, because my legs are sticking 6 inches off the edge of this chair.
Oh,
My legs
Lord.
are too long,
Wow.
and I don't know. This is all so new to me anyway, and so I guess I'm having a really cool wheelchair chair built for me now.
You ever thought about
And
getting
the
a
insurance is
scooter?
going to pay for it. So,
Would you ever get a
yay
scooter?
me.
Huh?
I said, yay me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't decide if I want it in atomic green or Ferrari red, though. That's where I'm kind of, that's kind of where I'm
Go
stuck
for the
at now.
Ferrari
So
red. Just go for it.
I don't even know what I'm getting. I was on the phone with them today, and I've got a list of stuff I've got to do before this process even starts. So there's no telling. They said they could take anywhere from like 2 to 8 weeks, I think they said, and I was like, ugh. So I got to sit in this thing that much longer.
Yeah.
But as soon as I get my new one, I'm going to take this one and put it in the driveway. I'm going to run over it with the car. Or I'm have somebody run over with the car because I'm not driving it.
Because
right
you're
now,
not
so.
driving it. Yeah.
That's another thing I got to do. I got to figure out because my license is expired and I've got to get my new driver's license. And they told me I have to go to DMV to do it. I can't do it online.
Really?
Yeah, that was weird. I got a letter and they said your license expires this year, and I said, "Yeah, I knew that."
Maybe. Well, I bet you this is the deal. You could have probably done it online before it expired.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Or you might
That's
be,
what I
or you
checked
know
because
what?
I even
You
called.
might be that magical age to where they
I
actually
think
got to
that's what
see
it
you.
was because I called. I called them. I got the letter and I said, "You go to the DMV." And I called them. I said, "Can I not do this online?" They said, "No, this time you have to go to the DMV
Yeah.
to do, to get your license." And
Right.
so I was like, "Okay." Oh, maybe it's because they want to see how much older I've gotten since my last picture I took, I don't
Yep.
know, 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, because I've had that same picture for, I don't know, 2 different licenses, I think. So who knows? It's just one thing after another, after another. It's the old guy show.
Geriatrics are us.
Yes, it is. So everybody else is doing fine, though, down there in the valley.
Yeah, we're alive and kicking. We're doing okay.
Do you see any of the cousins or anything while you're down there?
Yeah,
Or you
I'll see
just,
David. I'll see Kathy, mainly. I'll see Lisa and Gina every now and then. We'll have a get together either for Theophilia or Aunt Odelia. We'll get together. But that's pretty much it. I see Cindy all the time, obviously. But yeah, as far as anybody else, that's it. Of course, Tommy and them, they're out in he's out in San Antonio, and
yeah.
I don't barely run into the to Mike's kids that are still down here, but yeah, no, not too much, not too much. Pretty
Yeah, I
much
would
keep to
say
ourselves.
Tommy's in San Antonio and isn't Mark in Mexico now?
Well, technically, I
Or
mean, he's in Progresso, but so they flip back and forth between Weslaco and Progresso. But yeah, I'll see
now
Mark every now and then.
isn't the girl the lady that he married, isn't she a doctor or something?
Yes,
That's what I
yes,
thought so.
something like that. Yes, yes, yes. She is. She is. She is. And they were high
'Cause
school sweethearts.
I saw Mark at Linda's funeral, I believe, and he walked up to me and I was looking at him and he goes, "You don't remember me."
Mm.
And he had the goatee and he had all, and I
Yeah,
was
he still
like
has
going,
still has the handlebar mustache,
yeah, I had
and
that. I was
yeah,
like
he's doing the
going,
mustache thing. Yeah.
he goes, "It's me, it's Mark." And I went, "Oh, don't I feel stupid?"
Yeah,
I
and
was
man,
like,
he was probably in diapers when the last time you saw him, or very,
man, I
very
couldn't
young.
tell you the last time I'd seen
So
him
when's the last
before
time? So was
that.
the last time you were in the valley when Aunt Linda died? Wow.
Yeah,
And you
because
stayed
it
with
was
us. That's
grandma
when
was
you stayed
first,
with
and then
us. Wow, that's a long time ago.
grandma was first, and then Aunt Linda passed away
Yeah,
after
so
that,
yeah,
and
because
that
we
was
had
the last time
just
I was
moved
down
into
there
the
to see that.
house. We had just moved into this house when Grandma died, and you stayed with us. And then I remember when Aunt Linda died, you stayed with us because I think Vanessa actually took you to the airport. Um, wow, you need to get down to the valley.
We Tracy and I talked about that, and I said, "Yeah, we need to." We had talked about it and
I mean,
do
bring your
the
mom.
normal
All
thing.
three of you guys just come and just visit.
I am not locking myself in the car with her for 8 hours. It ain't
Okay. All
happening.
right. Well, just maybe you and Tracy come down.
We talked like we did before. Last time we were down there, when we drove down,
Mm-hmm.
we stopped. We spent the night in San Antonio and goofed off down to San Antonio, and then we drove in the rest. Because how far is San Antonio from the valley?
Right now, with the speed limit of 70, 3.5, almost 4 hours. Almost 4 hours.
Okay, that's not bad.
No,
Because
it's
we're
not bad. I
only.
mean, yeah, we
It's
can.
about 3.5. Well, it's about 4 hours from us to San Antonio.
Right.
'Cause it's just a straight shot south from us.
Yeah. Straight shot down here
So
as well. So yeah, 3.5 hours, 3.5, no more than 4, depending if you take a break. But yeah,
yeah, because we talked like maybe we'd stop and then all this, but we're going to figure out the driving thing next. Once we get all this
right,
other stuff figured out, then we got to start figuring out the driving thing. I have
right.
to sell my truck because I can't get in and out of it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's sitting in the garage right now,
Okay.
and I've got to get that list. I wasn't going to get rid of it, and then we started messing with it, and it was like, there's no way I can get in and out of that truck
Right.
anymore.
And you don't need the truck for the other stuff that you do? Tracy does with her business? Nah.
No.
No.
No, she can use her car. She uses
Yeah.
hers and tracks her stuff around, and she's she just hauls
Right.
mostly just clothes and stuff around, so she didn't need a truck.
Yeah.
She wouldn't drive my truck away. She's so afraid of my truck. I don't know why. I mean, we're talking about girl. She's hit the house twice pulling into the garage, and then I had the garage serviced one year. The guy came out and serviced it, checked the springs and oiled everything up and did the whole 9 yards. And then the next day, the garage door was halfway up and she hopped in the car and just threw it in reverse and went on out the garage. Took the bottom part of the garage door with her, but she went out the garage.
Wow.
She came in. Well, actually, I heard it and I went outside and I went, what? And I said, I just fixed that. I just had that all fixed. And so I called the guy and he came back out. And I said, and I was getting ready for him to say, oh, I'm going to replace the whole door and everything. He comes in and he looks at it and he starts laughing. And I said, what? And he goes, you don't know how many times I've seen this. And I said, oh, I couldn't even imagine. So what are you going to do? And he goes, we're going to take this bottom panel out, straighten it out and just put it back in and just.
Yeah.
I said, so I don't need a whole garage door? And he goes, no. He goes, we'll just take the dents out of it. And he goes, there will be some scratches, a few little dents. And I said, I can live with that. I don't care. I'll have Tracy autograph those. And then, she can do her thing. But
right.
she's a horrible driver. Oh, gosh. She scares me to death some days. She's a nervous driver is what her problem is. And that's what scares me.
Yeah.
Well, dude, we're at the witching hour. Where are we at?
2 hours, 2 minutes, and 47 seconds.
Yep. I'm sitting here watching the clock, and it is ticking along.
Watching the paint dry.
No kidding. Well, I'm glad you came on with me, man. We could just visit for a little bit. We haven't got a chance to just sit and talk for a while and just.
No, it's been nice.
But you be sure to. And I just wanted to tell everybody also real quick, not to rain on anybody's parade or anything, but some real good friends of ours, their house burned down last week.
No.
And so if y'all send a prayer, good thoughts, anything for them, everybody's safe. All the animals are safe. Everybody's safe. The house is gone, but, they can, I know everybody says it's just things, but I don't look at it like that. That's just, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No.
That was horrible. That family's been through a lot in the past few years. And this was just another cherry on the top. And I felt so bad for them. So,
right.
But they'll be good. They're strong. They'll hang in there. Leo, it's been fun, man. I got to get down to the valley one of these days.
You're going to have to, I could tell you.
Once we get this driving thing figured out, we'll come down.
All right.
Because it's not going to be impossible to not make it.
No.
Like I said, we can always, just like I said, we can always make the stop in San Antonio to
Right.
spend the night and come down the second day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did the last time. It was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah.
But there's so many people gone now. I figured I better get down there and start seeing everybody again because.
Yeah.
How's Anophelia doing anyway?
She's doing well. She's doing
Is she
well.
okay?
When did I see her? Oh, well, I saw her New Year's Eve, actually. So, yeah, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. I can't remember. Anyway, one of those between the holidays, I think. Yeah, actually, no, it was right before Christmas because we dropped them off a little gift there. But yeah, no, I mean, she's hanging in there. I mean, 20 some odd years married, and of course, everything that Vicente was going through, and I mean, it's tough, but she's okay. She's doing all right. I mean, the kids are with her, and Delia is with her a lot as well. So, it's just the both of them now. But
Yeah.
Delia looks great. She's fine, and Enofe también. But I mean, they're all getting up there. We're all getting up there.
We're all getting up there.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you give my love to everybody. Tell everybody I said hello.
Okay, will do.
It was so good to talk to you.
Good,
Just to see what was going on, see what's happening down there, see
Yep.
what the golden voice was doing down there in the valley.
Golden voice. Well, say hi to your mom as well for me.
I will. So I will tell you guys this. That is my cousin right there, Leo Marroquin.
Marroquin. Got to roll the R's, baby. Marroquin.
Leo Marroquin. Again, buddy, thanks for coming on. Love you. You tell everybody I said hi. Give everybody my best.
You bet.
You guys stay healthy. And if you talk to John, tell him I'm looking for him.
All right, you got it.
All right, buddy. You take care of yourself.
God bless you.
Thanks for joining Epic Stage Journeys and then some. Stay well, and we'll see you down the road.